for today's show. We are going to be getting into, basically, we live in a prison. We have a beast system, a Nimrod system that, you know, again, we just did an episode on the little season. And you got to, you know, I still to this day.
Scary.
I still to this day. Excuse me. I'm still to this day, like, I don't know how it can't be, even though we're going to have an episode of a friend of show going to come on, tell us it's not the little season. Yeah. I do believe, I mean, like, just this craziness. And we're going to get into pornography, and what is going on with that. So we are very excited to have him on. He has a great YouTube channel. He is a jester. He's a comedian, and we're honored to have him on the show for the first time, hopefully many times. Please welcome to the stage or the show, Charls Carroll. How are you, Charles?
Yo, hey, thanks so much for having me on. This is real exciting. Loving, already enjoying, already getting loose here, already enjoying the prison system we have going. And I'm happy that people are willing to discuss this without just dismissing everything. But you guys are used to not dismissing anything. So
yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'm doing my show tomorrow night called The Revival, and it's just going to be me ranting and raving on thoughts of the last month. And one of the things I want to talk about is like this kind of duality as a conspiracy theorist that I have, that is, I hold two completely separate beliefs at the same exact time. And my one belief is that I just want to save humanity. That at the core of this show, at the core of my being, since I was a very, very young man, I always wanted to save humanity. And I hold that thought while simultaneously holding the thought that I hate 80% of the people.
Yeah.
Like when I go on Instagram, I'm like begging for this asteroid to come and just reset everything. I mean, obviously I don't really want that to happen, but what's going on in these social media platforms is just the worst of the worst.
Demoralization. And
it really is like a crazy thing. So I'm excited to talk to you about your whole thoughts on the Nimrod beast system. Before we do, for those who may not be familiar with you, Charles, without an E, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm on Instagram, Charls Carroll, 2 R's, 2 L's, just like hell with no E. It's a standard thing. And I'm on Twitter, Good Charles, also no E on there. It's where I do a lot of my, I guess I just test writings up on there. I really have a lot of fun on Twitter and Instagram especially. But in my YouTube, it should be Charls Carroll, also the same spelling, and numeral 1 at the end. I just figured that was the absolute worst username I could possibly choose. So that's me for now. But I'm looking to redo things as I've gained a few IQ points in the last handful of years. So I'm looking to reinvent myself. But I'm out of retirement, so I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to talk conspiracies.
Let's get into it.
I feel you on being a net negative to mankind in your life, in not spreading your disease. I feel you on an impossible urge. It cannot be ignored. I feel you on that.
Well, it's also, you know, I was just talking to somebody, a prior guest has been on the show, and he's in like either Spain or Portugal, and they had the big blackout. And he just said that him and his family, him and his wife are just trying to find water anywhere so they could load up on water in case something got really crazy.
Water. Nice.
And then they went downtown and everything's blacked out. You know, it's like, I think it's during the day, but there's no electricity and the people are just drinking and chilling at the bar. And it's just like,
that's how you handle these emergencies.
Well, it's also that, yeah, but it's also a sign that like no matter what happens, people will not change the way they operate, the way they work, you know. And I get it. It's like, what can you do? Let's just drink. And it's just, yeah, I mean, it's hope, but it's also like this like inability to digest what is going on and to accept what is going on. And it makes it really hard when you're like screaming from the mountaintops that there's apex predators out there and they're coming for us. And, you know, that again, in the Twitter space, in the conspiracy space, everyone's constantly bringing up, you know, weapons of mass destruction, COVID, BLM, all these things that people are, that were these giant psyops of destruction. Yeah. And yet nobody's gone to jail. Nobody's been, has anyone even been fired? I mean, it's like,
what does justice mean? There's no such thing as justice in this world. I guarantee it.
Yeah. I mean,
no one gets called out on anything. They blame it on you. They wait long enough and they just blame it on you in the long run.
And it's just like really dark stuff only matters if it happens to them personally. To the
But
point.
that's a symptom of torture, though. I feel that people having an inability to wake up and to hear the alarm of apex predators that are straight up not even visible. They don't even have names. That's how you control a
Or they
prison
don't
like
have to. They walk amongst us. They literally look like us. It's like we're chihuahuas and they're all wolves, but we're all dogs.
Now, people feel that mankind is an apex predator, but we're really not. There are forces in control right now, opposing forces that want the absolute opposite of what you want. Those are the people that are in charge. They want the opposite of what you want.
Yeah, that is something we've talked about on the show a lot, and I talk about with anyone that will listen to me, is this kind of false reality that has been projected on the God's reality. And that is when you go, that doesn't make sense to me. When you hear that the Democrats of California voted against making it illegal to sex traffic 15 and 16-year-olds.
Well, it wasn't okay, so that is a little more complicated than that. They have a bill that they had actually all agreed on last year, but there's this provision that would make it a felony for 16 and 17-year-olds, and that was the hanging point, was making it a felony. That and
what do they want it to be? A traffic ticket?
Well,
they're slowly coming out of the closet, aren't they? They're slowly coming out.
I think there was some concern about, like, okay, so what if the person's 18? Do you know what I mean? And then you have to prove that and then they have to prove that the 17-year-old
Too old.
There's some burden to prove that they're trafficked or something. I don't know. It's confusing.
Well, that's fine, but
no, it's horrible, especially in light of, I tweeted about it, this. They just
Sex slavery.
The largest settlement ever, $4 billion. LA County is giving to these victims, these poor kids that were abused in the foster home system. And the public home system, you know,
yeah,
$4 billion,
child pimping
services in the history of
100%. And again, I'm a pro-life person. I believe that children are a gift, but at the same time, I understand when a child comes in this world without two parents, it is a tough road, and like the majority of the people you see on the street, foster care. The majority of the people that you see in prisons, foster care. And the majority of the children who go missing are from foster care.
Is adopting a kid as hard as they say? I mean, obviously, I've never tried.
The problem with adopting an American kid, and I say this in terms of the technicality, is that the parent can get the kid back at any time.
Oh, so you don't want to get
That's
an
a bit of a
attachment.
switcheroo.
Yeah, so it's like you raise this kid for 5 years, you fix everything in him, and then the parent could be like, I got sober, I want my kid back. I had friends of mine that couldn't have kids at first, and they adopted, and this kid was wild. He was just wild. And they tried their hardest, and then the dad's like, I want him back, and they had to give him up.
That's sad.
It's
That's
really
a nice
rough.
life as a kid. That's great.
Again, it's like, I feel like kids are on their path, and your whole thing as a parent is to shield them from trauma that knocks them off the train track.
Yep. The butterfly effect from trauma, even with pornography, you can pull anything out of a hat, and the ripple effect it will have on the trajectory of someone's life, it's incalculable. It's impossible for the normal person to understand industrial applied weapons like this. They have no idea how it alters your life. People think they have free will.
Yeah. I mean, people
Bizarre.
think they have free will, and it's especially in these big cities.
Yeah.
These big cities are free range psych wards, free range reservations. Like what they did to the indigenous, they do in us in a more elaborate way.
Oh, it's just a long game with us, because if you wake a populace up and they've got guns, then they're gonna point them at you. You have to do these things by degrees, where it takes 100 years to disarm a people and to move in on them, but not before you molest all their children in the public schools and in CPS and all that stuff too. That's a little bit of an added bonus.
Yeah, I agree with that. So
No, I think just because we're all pretty passionate about pornography, and it was one of the first things we discussed when we first met, I think we should really
the show is
slip into
passionate
that.
about pornography.
Yeah, we have a passion about it.
We battle that demon very much. The introduction early on to pornography in my life has done devastating effects.
Imagine what it's done. It raped you. just like everybody else.
Well, I did get molested by Larry Watts too. So I mean, so
That doesn't help.
yeah. I mean,
Fucking Larry.
fucking Larry. But it was a different time. People were like, he's got problems. That's how it used to
Were
be.
you about to say he's eccentric?
Yeah, that's basically what it was. Because I remember, man, my parents who are great people. Maybe my dad's not perfect in any way. He flamethrowed his life as a way to show me what was going to happen if I followed in his footsteps. But I remember this guy, Larry Watts, goes to jail for pedophilia and gets out. And man, my parents went to see him when he got out.
That's wild.
That's why, because it was a different time.
Because you would never do that. I can never hear you saying, "Hey, remember that friend that was a pedophile? I'm gonna go visit him now." I would look at you and be like, "What are you? What the fuck?"
Never.
And they did.
They did. I remember going to see him and thinking about, man, that guy aged. He was in jail for like 5 years at that. It's like basically a misdemeanor, like California wants
Quick
to.
nickel.
Yeah, and he was ghost white, and he just sat in a chair, and he just stared out into like the abyss.
So right there, there's no such thing as rehabilitation. Doesn't exist.
That's an old Joe Rogan joke. Joe would talk about, you can't fix these guys. There's no he used to fuck kids. He doesn't anymore. You're like, what? What?
Now he just has sex with him.
Yeah.
He's different.
Yeah, he's different. Yeah, and so, yeah, it is, man. Pornography, it's so crazy.
That's the thing.
Yeah, it is. It's a crazy thing. So let's hear what you want to say. I'm talking the whole time.
Well, with pornography, you could, of course, people are going to be like, "So it's the Jews that bring it." Of course, you can always start like there if you want to. I guess
Can't get me unbanned from LA comedy. Have a good time.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck. You go work at Burger King if you go at working at a glory hole gas station, and they're again straw men also. So the creatures that run this world, they have no names because they're too smart to have names. They can't be pointed out. They can't be attacked. People think they're dealing with idiots. Oh, it's incompetence. People are I bet. But with pornography, it's easy to blame, or rather, it's easy to point at because it is militarily applied. It's industrially applied. We've all heard some. I don't know if it was a Palestine thing from 20, 30 years ago, whatever the hell, but there was some sort of a military application of pornography in a newly occupied zone. I'd forget the details, but so it's irrefutable. It is a military weapon to demoralize and subdue and to misdirect the vital energy and the vital time and vital thought trains, everything of the populace, so you don't even have time to think about these things. And you could say, of course, that's the branch of the military, but upon years of thinking about this, I've known this for many years, that pornography would be the annihilation of all children. And if you don't get rid of it, like almost nothing matters. The top priority is pornography. It's more, maybe even more than immigration, I guess you could say. But now that I consider the sex slaves like Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips, the pretty obvious sex slaves out of Manchurian Candidate, when I see that and I know that people they use their sexual energy during that pornography time, and these women are sex slaves, therefore they're temple prostitutes. So I'm starting to feel right now that it's within the sphere of influence of the church that these temple prostitutes come from, because they are temple people, and it's applied militarily, but it's a spiritual and a religious right to have this prostitution legal and rampant and open to children. I think it's a religious institution that's plaguing the world right now.
With the passing of the Pope and the revisionist history of this guy, my girlfriend who I love, she just can't stop talking glowingly about this guy.
The Pope?
Yeah, the Pope. And I'm just like, are you just forgetting all the stuff that's happened with the Catholic Church? Now, I will say this because I hear Catholics screaming in my earphones that there has, just like they did with the Italian mob to get you to not look at the Jewish mob.
It's so crazy that people know this stuff now.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. It's like shocking me. It's like things you'd whisper years ago like this. They weren't Italian.
There is a focus, the spotlight on the Catholic Church over, Zionist, Jewish, pedophilia. It's 100%. And it's like, I believe whenever you get into power structures at the top, the way to control people are, in fact, through, depending on this time in history, what is seen as taboo. You know, a married man stepping out on his wife back in the day was seen probably even worse than pedophilia at that time.
Yeah, what are you, fucking gay?
Yeah. Not getting me, so it becomes this whole thing where it's like, what is the flavor of the month of the blackmail?
Yeah, it's weird though, right? Because it depends on the culture. Because the Italian culture had the kind of gamar thing, you know, where it was acceptable to have a mistress. And in France now, it's still very common for someone, you know, to have a wife, which, you know, is for breeding purposes, and then you have a mistress on the side, which is kind of, you just don't talk about it, but it's not.
It's a bit sexual.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's really dependent on culture, right? What you can blackmail people on, because in France, like a mistress, no big deal.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Macron, like all of his shit. Nobody cares over there.
Look at his
America.
husband.
We're gone.
I don't know if they don't care. I think they do care a lot.
I think they don't know. I don't even think half those people know about that.
Think they care. Yeah. They're crazy. The French dude are wild. They're wild.
Yeah, I think that's been done on purpose.
I just watched a movie called Fat Girl, a French film. They're crazy.
I bet you did.
They're wild.
You love Fat Girl.
Yeah, it was in
Fat
this.
Girl?
Yeah, it was literally in Hollywood. It was a 35 millimeter. Some girl was like, "Let's go watch this movie," and I went.
That's okay. That makes a lot of sense.
There was like a
Horrible
bunch of
first
girls.
date.
It was me and my homie. No, it wasn't a first date. It was me and my homies and this girl that I was like, "What? You got to watch this crazy film. It's wild. It's called Fat Girl, and it's just how they don't care. They're literally
In France.
In France, yeah, and they're promoting like it's like a teenage growing up film, and they're like 17, 16, and they're being very sexual, and you're like, what the fuck is this shit?
I thought this was bad. You know, I thought that was bad. They're making movies about it. Oh, it's cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at like Cuties on Netflix and all that
It
stuff.
was like
and
that.
they
It was just like
and they
Cuties.
just keep getting away with it because they are the criminal, the cop, the judge, and the jury. They are all parts of it. That's why this whether it's real or not, and everyone says there are no Jeffrey Epstein files, that this is just a red herring that everybody's doing. But we know something was going on there. You know, you got Wanda Sykes, who is like one of the worst comics ever, and I'll say it to her face, you know, and now you find out not only was she NSA, but she was also on Epstein's flight logs.
We're talking about Mrs. Video Game here, right? Miss Video Game that's in a million video games. Is that her?
No, Wanda Sykes is is the black female comic
Lesbian.
Lesbian. So you're
Fake
checking
dicks.
off all the boxes
She was
there.
in Curb a lot.
And
What the fuck you talking about, Larry?
yeah, she plays that character, which is like, I tell people, young people in Hollywood, don't learn to act, learn to be a stereotype.
Yeah, that's totally it.
Right? Learn to be a stereotype because these casting directors are retards. And
So
they
she's
don't
military?
She was
comes from the military.
Yeah, she's
Big-
NSA.
Influencers come from
I would
the
say she's
military?
militant, but-
She just was on that guy, who's that great writer from Saturday Night Live who got that super hot chick pregnant?
Pete Davidson?
No, it's he used to be the head writer on Saturday Night Live. Good looking white guy, had a bad coke problem.
Oh yeah. Oh hell, what is his name? It's Irish, right?
Yeah.
Oh, hell.
Hold up.
Yeah, but oh hell.
Oh yeah.
He 100%.
John Mulaney.
John Mulaney has like a talk show on Netflix that it's weird nobody even talks about, but she admitted to it on the show. Like Operation Mockingbird right there.
Isn't that
shit.
crazy? Did you ever think you'd live through the days where these were just now they're commonly discussed conspiracies? I know it's actually not a good sign. It means that more hardcore stuff is being put into motion while we're talking about, the stuff from 10, 15, 20 years ago. So it's always never a good sign. But it still shocks me that people are talking about all this stuff out in the open. It's like, it's weird. You never think it's going to happen.
As we get back on the pornography, you brought up like Bonnie Blue and whatever that other chick's name
sex
is.
slaves, Manchurian Candidate style sex slaves.
And this gets into Wanda Sykes. Like the way to control it is to expose it, and exposure is the tool of the elites to put you on the front page of YouTube, to put you on Curb, to put you on Saturday Night Live when that meant something. That's how you blow up people. That's how you present people to a large mass. Are there people as funny as these people? Yeah, dude, AJ Jamal. Nobody's ever heard of AJ Jamal. I mean, he's one of the greatest comics ever. For some reason, he never got the exposure that a Wanda Sykes got, that Bill Cosby curb stomped her.
Yeah, he wouldn't wear red shoes or something like that.
No,
I don't know about that. What?
It was like the Oscars. She was hosting the Emmys or the Oscars, and she's like, back in your day, you all did it. And he's like, yeah, we also spoke English too. Just
Oh, he was doing an Ebonics job on her?
yeah.
Oh,
But
did he get thrown out after doing that?
But he just said that because at that time he's still royalty, so nobody was going to touch the king.
I mean, he was untouchable, dude. It's
that Seinfeld movie hits much deeper now with how everybody looks at Seinfeld.
What, Barney Adamson, comedian?
Yeah. Where he goes and meets basically the Oracle at the end, which is Bill Cosby.
Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah. Wow, that's a great film too.
It's great. Orny doesn't like talking about. Orny's a great comic.
Yeah, Orny Adams, guest on Broken Simulation. Check it out.
Yeah, hates talking about the movie. But it goes back to that. It's like we talked about many times. Why is Lex Friedman? Why was he on the front page of YouTube every day, all the time?
He's just that good, bro. Dude, he's just that much better at you with everything. He's a perfect rhetorician. He understands rhythm. He has an intuition with his interviewees. He knows where to go. He's handsome. He dresses the part.
Keep it going.
He's got the Goodwill Smith blackboard in back of him.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
I guess I was wrong. I guess he earned it.
Dude, he's that much better than all of us.
He's that much better. Just a monotoned elevator music.
Yeah, what if that's
AI
the thing?
robot?
He's preparing people to listen to robots,
Yeah, maybe. I mean, people are talking about, dude, there was this AI podcast. I didn't even know it was AI. Yeah, because,
No.
Yeah, so Lex Friedman now walks so you could run. So this AI podcast could run. You know what I'm saying? So, but going
silly.
back to like the Bonnie Blue thing, it's like, there is a reason why she is everywhere. Because she is promoting, she is there to promote a lifestyle that is dangerous.
Women take her seriously because you know how well women they can be influenced by witchcraft just like everybody else. But I would put forth that it hits them a little bit harder than men. I don't care. I'll put that forth. That's fine. And they're pretty susceptible to it.
What is really hard about pornography and this like hoflation era that we're in right now is that men's wiring is not meant to see this much crotch. Like that meant something back in the day. Like when you saw between a woman's leg, like that was a major moment in your life. And now I can't go on Instagram without seeing a woman's crotch.
Like I'm not the first one to say this, but like how many assholes or vaginas you think your grandpa saw?
I mean, my grandpa was a little bit of a player.
All right, your great grandpa, your great great grandpa.
Yeah, one,
one dog,
maybe two.
Look at it now.
You can see that on
Look
Instagram.
at how sexualized.
Two girls, one cup that's enough. You can get that in one video.
Yeah, but you didn't even got to get to that dark of a video. I mean, we're just talking like.
Just give me Tub Girl.
It's just so crazy that like I put this out the other day that there's 4 forms of currency in our world right now. There is fiat cash, which is the Babylonian money magic.
That's alchemy.
And then there is the cryptocurrency, which is the beast enslavement system. And then there is the precious metals, which is a way to get out of the beast system. And then the final one, did he freeze? And then the final one is of course, here we go. We're getting too close. There we go. We can hear you.
Okay, nice.
All right, here we go. We can hear you. You look stunning. It's probably the best picture.
There we go. I'm
okay. And then the final one is female nudes.
Card issue. Yep.
Female nudes is literally currency.
Yep.
A woman can gain wealth, can gain weed, can get drugs, can get opportunity.
Deflationary currency, though. It's worth much less than it used to be. A woman's nudes,
and the more she shows it, the less it's worth.
Yeah.
But it is worth something.
No, for sure.
Definitely worth something.
I mean, dude,
if a girl sends you a nude, you're like, okay, what do you want?
It used to be, man.
Take it. Take it.
You want DoorDash?
Take my money.
You want DoorDash? Are you hungry?
Yeah. Send me some food. I'm hungry. Boom. Here's my hole.
You know, it really
are they real
ruined.
though? These women? Are there any women that want to have sex with 500 or 1,000 guys? Like, how can that be real? How can women believe that they're actually real women?
They're sex addicts.
Well, that is Dr. Drew's whole thing that there's nobody who wants to do pornography.
No, it's not. It's not possible. It's only sex slavery.
Well, I do believe that when women first get into pornography, there's an initial desire to do it because women don't know the difference between fame and infamy sometimes. And you know, let me correct that. It's not just women, it's men too. Men who do these stupid ass, you know, viral moments where they like commit felonies and stuff like that, or do the most craziest, ridiculous, stupid pranks that they almost either go to jail or die. Like they don't know the difference either.
Do you think porn star men regret it?
What?
Do porn stars that are men, do they regret it as much as females? Do they like? Is there as much as suicide?
So.
I don't.
No, because a male porn star could walk in and you don't know who he is.
Touché.
It's also not.
It's like being a California Angel.
Yeah.
It's like nobody knows
These aren't the
players.
Peter North days or the Ron Jeremy days. That's kind of done now.
Yeah,
or
and
Safri
very
days.
rarely do they show their face. They tend to be from the waist up.
Also, it's just not the same for a guy. It's just not. Guys are expected to have multiple partners. Women are not expected to be railed on camera. I don't know. I think there's a double standard in society.
What do you think happens to her in 10 years? Where's Bonnie Blue in 10 years, 20 years? What do you think?
She'll find some guy.
You think so?
There will be some guy who try to
That's
wife her up.
wild.
I mean, you know, who's that tall redheaded chick who goes off on every feminist? I forget what her name
Some
is.
guy who looks like me, probably.
No,
Wife her up. No, I'm talking about
she's cool,
Bonnie
but
Blue.
she was talking about how like I don't see any negative effects from women hoeing, and here's the thing, man, and it's like you may not see negative effects because you think you're still on this path, but you don't understand the doors that were closed because you did this. These are doors that will never open to you.
Yeah, your life is irreparably altered making one decision like this, and people think it's a joke, but it'll change your entire life. Like there's certain things you can't come back from. They'll normalize it here, of course, and they'll be wearing badges like I've done porn or I've been raped. Sooner or later,
like the Boy Scouts. That's
with
great.
pride.
Wow.
Oh yeah. So
Sooner
what
or later,
happens is
it'll be like that.
They do all this stuff, and then at a certain age, they realize they messed up, and then it becomes blame everybody else.
But it's not just missing opportunities.
It's the same thing.
It's your soul. Those things. I think those things. There's a cost. You know. There's a.
Of course.
I think it takes.
I mean, like I could say the same thing about my comedy, right? Like based on the decisions I've made comedically, I've felt I don't know what could have been.
Yeah.
Like, what if I went down? I'm not saying I would ever be Sebastian Maniscalco because he's, you know, the guy looks like John Gotti. It's plug and play. He's a great comic. I'm not like saying anti-comic,
No, of course,
but he's a great comic, but is plug and play. You know, you're like, the casting director goes, oh my God, he looks just like John Gotti. And he's super Italian, plug and play. It's like the path of least resistance when it comes to digesting data. It's like more plug and play, the easier it is to, it's like.
But that's different than sex. I mean, intimacy is a crucial to a relationship. How are you supposed to have a normal relationship after you've taken kind of detached that part of your, sex, made it more of a job than, intimacy, like something you're sharing with someone? Do you know what I'm saying? Like making it kind of, what would you say, soulless, the sex, right? Because they've turned that body part into like a tool, right? Yeah, commerce, yeah. And how do you? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of therapy that needs to happen to get you back to.
Yeah, but even if you get into therapy, how are you going to find it? If the average guy has let's say what's it, 4-inch dick? Is that what the average is?
That's a whole different thing.
I mean, what if we
it's like 5? I think.
Well, if we take out the Asians, then it probably goes to 5.5, right? So we take out that.
Let's go with 4.
Where are you going to find a hog? Not every guy has that fat hog. If that's what ends up being the thing that gets you going.
Oh, they squeeze babies out of there too. Like that kind of changes things.
Pornography in cinema, Hollywood, and music and everything, it defines even the sexual mores of the youth, which is the only thing that matters. The children are the ones that will be fighting you in the future. If there's a civil war, it's going to be you against your own children. People think that the blacks we're going to fight the blacks. You're going to be fighting the youth, the entire youth generation. That's like, no, we want your guns. We're coming for you, boomer or zoomer, whatever you're
right.
It's going to be the children. If they're introduced and molested by pornography, then they're going to be essentially initiated into. I guess you could say they're initiated into a sex cult when they're introduced to pornography unwillingly and unwittingly back when they're children. That's a sort of an initiation that will alter every single thought for the rest of your life, like we've said before. It's incalculable damage.
Is there an age to get introduced to porn? Do you think it's not for humans? Do you think you shouldn't be watching?
Yeah, pornography. I only see it as a military weapon and as a religious institution to redirect the energy of people into I don't know to the temple, back to the temple prostitution. But I see it as a military tool to keep people just buzzed all the time, or their thoughts are never in the right place. They can't have a train of thought or anything. Yeah. And just the ripple effect of the degeneration in your behavior it's not even possible to calculate what it does to the hardwiring in your brain, especially with the median age of 11. People are introduced to pornography. That's no problem, I guess. Having sex at 11. I guess no people have a problem with that. But it really is an initiation into a cult, which is essentially the initiation into the general population of a gigantic prison.
Yeah, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. I agree with that. I mean, it just becomes a vibrational thing. Low vibrational, high vibrational. The
only power you have is what you think about.
I agree.
That's the only power you have. And if you're using pornography and you're thinking and you're sending energy into hell, it's blasphemy, honestly.
And you know, pornography kind of gets into the same thing with drugs, where it's like, you know, when it initially gets introduced to the world, you know, I know that cocaine and all those stuff were legal at one point, but they were used a different way.
It used to be pure and good back then.
You know, yeah, it was pure and good. It was used for
cough syrup,
medicine and stuff like that. And then it became this like kind of outlawed thing. And
so was heroin, to be fair. Heroin was also a medicine.
And I'm sure fentanyl was used medically. And then someone realized
fentanyl prescription.
They could use it to get high. But when you get into drugs and you get into like sex work and all that stuff, there used to be this kind of like Lord of the Rings kind of journey you would have to go on to get these drugs, to get this stuff,
or to
get pornography, to
you
get
have to
laid.
Talk to Tom Bombadil,
right? I remember like when porn just started coming out on the scene. You know, you would have to find your dad's Playboy and pray they didn't know that you had it.
Or a magazine.
Or like, because I grew up in the scumbag area of upstate New York, you know, there would be like people would throw out their pornography and somehow you would find it. Right.
That's
and you're
nice.
like, damn,
Somehow.
look at that. But the point was it was impossible to get.
Yep.
You had to really go on a hero's journey to get this thing. And now it's just at these kids' fingertips. It's not meant to be like that. When I say like I've never seen so much crotch in my life, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, dude,
It's
I remember
not good.
it when it first started to come, like online, you know, and I remember sitting there for 5 minutes waiting for a photo of Kathy Ireland to load on the page, you know, in a swimsuit, you know. And
The Kathy days.
I'm thinking about how different it is now. You know, you're getting 4K video instantly.
You just type in P in a search engine.
Are you 18 and over? Yes. Okay. Welcome to the kingdom.
We'll take your word for it, mouse.
I think it's weird that it's free. I mean, not that
weird.
Not if they charge $1, I think we would all pay for it. But I really think it's just weird that it's completely free. You can watch hours.
It's there as a public service.
Yeah, it feels. Yeah, it's like YouTube. Like they don't even care. There's no ads. There's not really that many ads. They
It's
can't
a
take any
human
money
right.
off of ads.
Well, before OnlyFans, you were looked at like you were a crazy person for paying for porn.
You're right.
You're like, why are you paying for it? It's
now,
free.
Wasn't most of it though? Then it was produced and it was on websites, and then it was ripped from the most of it at that time was just shit that people were paying for.
Yeah, but
elsewhere
the
and ripped,
Pornhub
right?
was doing it. They were ripping it and they were uploading it, and they just had these huge lawyers that would just keep you in court forever before.
Oh, really? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
funny.
you couldn't even do anything.
But it was.
It's easier to stretch things out. You can't go to a war with huge machines like that. They'll bankrupt. They know how to bankrupt you. You know how it is.
So let's get into
How do you even stop it?
why do you call it the Nimrod system?
Well, Nimrod's system is, I guess he's usually attributed as the first tyrant, probably synonymous with Gilgamesh, the first tyrant of this world, and also a giant. So it leads me to believe he's, I suppose, a son of God or a son of
Nephilim?
a fallen angel and a woman. It's probably like that. They spawned giants in the Nephilim class or the Archon class, however you want to describe them. But Nimrod is who I attribute all of the ills that we suffer to. The invisible cage and the invisible chains. You have to be pretty advanced to pull that over a realm wide. It's not a stupid machine. It can't be done with just guns. It's sort of fallen technology that you can't even make up. Even like language. A lot of the things that we've enjoyed, I just assume that it's technology given to us by fallen angels just to thwart our progression. But Nimrod, if he's the first tyrant and the first one with technology from hell, intelligent enough to design a civilization and a society that is in 100% lockdown without the people even knowing it, which is a very, very sophisticated prison. You don't even know you're in prison. That's how you want it. You don't want to fight the people. You want them to just be lay down and take it. That's just, what are you going to shoot every person in the world just to contain them? It doesn't work like that. But the Nimrod system is what I attribute every ill in the world to. And I guess it's essentially the use of, sexual abuse and torture and witchcraft with the media and propaganda and education with teachers in order to brainwash, for lack of a better term. I don't know if it's a bit played out, brainwash or program. They're kind of thrown around a lot lately. You could say repatterning. You could say behavior modification. You could say an involuntary possession, an inception of a demon. You could put it a bunch of different ways. Either way, the result is the same. It's annihilation and dysfunction and demoralization, and it develops into a society that children are, I guess, sex objects these days, and pornography is for everybody. So it's really the only way I feel that you can pull the wool over people's eyes and have them not rebel is to have a sophisticated prison system that is very ancient and that comes from hell. Honestly, that's the way I feel about it.
There's all discussion, was Nimrod the Antichrist that came back? There's all this discussion about that and what they represent. And, as I did the show, as the show progressed over time, my spiritual journey progressed. And, I remember when I first got sober, I used to think that people needed to use God as a way to give themselves some kind of consequence because they had no discipline in their life. So they had given up on discipline and they needed to just have something else that they had to be, to look as basically to control themselves. They needed something else outside them. As I have gone on this journey, I realized that that's not true at all. And that our society, that everything popular, everything in the culture, again, we've said this before, culture is not your friend. Culture is the enemy of nature.
Yep.
Culture is the enemy of heritage. Okay? Culture is manipulated programming from think tanks to detach you from God, right?
There it is.
So, there's studies coming out right now that liberal women are the biggest abusers of drugs and alcohol, that they're numbing their pain because they're wiring.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Yep. I mean, and I was there, dude. I mean, like, my career wasn't going well, so I did drugs, and because I did drugs, my career didn't go well. It's a vicious cycle.
Such cases.
Right?
Yeah, I get that. I get that completely. I know all about that.
And just think about, like, I'm older than everybody on the show, but there was a time where, like, we were talking about the 60s and 70s, and everything was like, oh man, it was drugs and it was women, and
Laurel
like we were
Canyon,
just
CIA,
we were just
again.
programmed that was what it was meant to be. That's what
life.
the sign of a man is. A man who bedded all the women and did all the drugs and lived that rock star lifestyle. Who cares if they were all dying young?
Isn't that a gay lifestyle, though? Having a lot of sex partners? Isn't that traditionally a gay lifestyle?
I mean, there's an argument for that in a weird way. I mean, but if you're banging a lot of chicks, it's like, damn, dude. I mean, that
I would say if you're banging a lot of chicks, you're gay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a weird.
Yeah, I'm very gay then. I'm super gay.
Hey, it's your episode. Say whatever you want.
It used to be, that if you went, I mean, it was gay, especially among the old school guys, to go down on a woman. That was gay.
That is the funniest thing ever.
Because they would say if you would do that, you would also suck a dick. Was the idea?
There it is. What about getting the head is gay, even if it's from a woman?
I've never heard that.
Because it's not a procreative.
Hey man, there
sex
are no
act.
bad ideas on this show. There are no bad ideas.
There's an
Everyone,
episode of
That's a
Sopranos
bad
about
idea.
No.
That's a
Getting
bad
head's gay,
idea.
man.
There's an episode of Sopranos about Uncle Junior,
Yeah.
the older guy, where he goes down. They find out he went down on this woman he was dating, and they just destroy him. And he gets really mad because he knows that like people finding out about that, people would say he was a fanook, you know.
Yeah, and it was funny because she was bragging about it.
Cancer from eating too much pussy.
Yeah.
No, she was bragging about it at the salon. Johnny's right. She was bragging about it, and
She put Uncle June on blast.
Yeah, and she was like, "Why don't you do it to me?" And he's like, "What?" And then that's how they figured it out.
He had to dump her.
He had to leave her. Yeah, we went to the house, broke shit, all because he eats good pussy.
Johnny, you eating pussy? I didn't raise you like that.
Yeah.
Damn it, Johnny. All my hard work. Now you're out here just eating pussy left and right.
Isn't that crazy?
That is so crazy to me. I mean, again, different times. And it is just, there's a lot of weirdness out there. It's just, and because that's what on the porn sites, that's what all the recommendations are, is how deep into murky water can we bring you?
It needs to be banned. There's no other conversation. If pornography isn't banned, what are you supposed to do? Everything you do, it's muted. Everything you do to change the civilization or protect the children, it's
100%.
absolutely negated
Johnny,
by
you
the
brought
fact
that
that
up
they can
earlier.
have porn.
Dude, there's an episode. I used to love that show, Cat House. Remember on HBO about what Dennis Hoff's place, and the women there when they had virgins in, they would have to ask them if they watched a lot of porn because they were beating their meat so much that they were desensitized, and with a woman the first time it would take forever to get them off because
Isn't that
they
nice?
were so desensitized by the pornography and jerking off all the time.
Imagine what that does. Imagine the damage. Imagine the sex relations between men and women, how that's damaged.
It's killing
incalculable.
Japan.
Yeah,
I just watched
about
60
that.
Minutes
All
on
of a sudden,
Japan.
ED medication.
Yeah.
Where was ED medication before pornography?
Whoa.
I mean, let's be for real. If you don't watch porn for a week, you're extra horny. You want your lady more than you wanted her. If you just this thing is not might be even ED. Just stop jerking off.
100%.
No,
And you might get hard.
100%, but it is about getting you into these things that don't lead to more children.
Yeah.
Getting you into sex that
knows?
does not lead into more children.
People were killed in the Bible for splashing their seed on the ground instead of shooting it inside.
Well, people get
Jewish
mad at
law.
me when I say this, and I'm sorry. Again, I took down that video that people call blasphemous. I took it down even because we prayed that this guy would get laid. I'm sorry about that. That's
What?
You're
We're
up,
not supposed to do that?
yeah. I prayed to God that this guy could bang this chick, and everyone said that was blasphemous.
People didn't like it.
And 5 people said it. 2 guys on the internet and 3 people I work with. Johnny was one of those.
Did he want?
It is technically blasphemous.
Did he want to get laid though?
Well, the joke was that it wasn't even his girlfriend; it was his friend's girlfriend, so it was going to happen anyways. But
No.
but just that. So I'm not.
to be clear, I wasn't the one who first said it. He asked me
You
later.
are
He's
the-
like,
you-
hey,
you are the third person I work with, and 2 people on the internet said it. So I said I took it down because I'm not. But and this statement's going to make some people angry, and I'm not trying to do it. But as a guy who's new to the Bible, I remember reading the Bible and just going, "Man, these guys are like hooking up with their daughters." Like that is really weird to me, and like that's just an honest reaction to that.
Well, think about, dude. Think about the creation story. There were 2 people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there is some things out there that I go, even the OGs were like doing some weird shit, So I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
I'll be right back. One
Yeah,
second.
go. I know I'm gonna yell at you. Never let the guy talk. He walked off. I'm trying.
Yeah, I don't know, but 2 people started it all technically, which is
Yeah, and then who their kids hook up with and all that stuff, and then
at what age?
That's why I talk about the Old Testament being for a different kind of person, because it's just the things we can't imagine are commonplace there. The violence, the way they treated enemies at war.
Right.
It's just horrible. It's horrific. It really is.
I'm just working through it, but so
How do you handle music? Like you're in the car with your kids now. I've heard what you love. Are you careful with the music? Because now I drive. I'm like, I can't imagine radio music, Cardi B, and my daughter singing this shit. And I think it's wholesome because it's the radio. I'm assuming they're.
You think Cardi B is wholesome?
No. I'm assuming that what's on the radio should be listened to be kid friendly. But if you literally listen to the words, you're like, this kid shouldn't be singing this. I don't really listen to the words of Cardi B, but when you actually listen to the words, you're like, holy crap, how do you deal with music?
Well, that's an old Chris Rock joke that women don't even know the lyrics that they're singing.
Exactly. Yeah.
They don't even know the lyrics that they're singing. Just to answer your question, when my kids are in the car, we listen to John Lennon. John Legend is that what's
the John Legend.
Yeah.
Mayer, John Mayer.
John Mayer.
He has a really great channel on Sirius, and it's more like just white people music.
Yeah, I've heard that's good.
So, no, it's a great channel, and it's perfect for the kids.
I like him.
If my daughters are getting like antsy or they're screaming and crying, turn it on. They get quiet because they love music. But that's the only thing I listen to. Like we brought them to Minecraft, and Minecraft. Yeah, the movie is it starts out so stupid because they're just because they know the audience is 10 and younger. And it's 5 minutes of here's the plot of this movie. That's basically what they do. And they literally go, I'm this guy. I'm doing this. I found this. I went here. Here's where I live. I run the world. And that's literally is the 5 minutes that sets up the movie. Who's the guy who plays Aquaman?
Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Jason Momoa and Jack Black are basically 69ing in the air.
That's nice.
And I was like,
really?
Okay, this movie's been pretty decent. That is an adult joke right there.
It's a little bit of a gay act.
It's a 100% gay act. From a guy who's gorgeous to a dude who's super talented, but fat, Hollywood fat, and they're 69 each other. And in the air, and you're just like, damn.
Was it something like that?
Yeah, it's right there.
That's what I would write if I was writing a movie for kids.
Right?
That's what I would write.
And you don't like when every once in a while I have a little stuff for adults, like the innuendo. You're like, hey, there's a little for you. Thank you for watching the movie.
But that's a super adult thing right there. But that's a subversion.
Wow. I didn't know it had that in there. That's a bit of a classic
subversion.
edition.
I mean, the movie did huge numbers.
My nephew loved it. Yeah.
It was a great movie. I love going to movies with my daughter. My one daughter can't take it. She's just like, yeah, I'm good. The other one, I just love it. But it was a good movie. That was a questionable thing in that movie. That was unnecessary, dude. You guys.
I think it wouldn't have gotten made if that weren't in the script.
I'm sure there's we need to gay it up. We need one gay scene.
Yeah, dude. There's this show called The Studio that Seth Rogen did, and they just did an episode about. And it's just exactly what's happening at studios now about how they're trying to do this movie based on the Kool-Aid franchise. And so they cast Ice Cube as Kool-Aid. And then they realize, like, oh, shit, is this racist that we made Ice Cube the Kool-Aid guy? Because black people obviously love Kool-Aid. And
Who doesn't love Kool-Aid?
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's really poor people. And that was.
I guess I'm a poor person.
Yeah, but I was too. I grew up drinking it. Dude, it's just they go through the whole episode is them trying to figure out whether it's racist to cast him, and then they end up falling out over using, and it's just exactly what's going to happen at studios. They get in a time crunch, and they're like, I think we're going to have to use AI animation, and they do, and it just kills the whole movie. Yeah.
Oh, really?
But dude, the conversation they have where he comes to the studio, he's like, hey man, we're running out of time here. We're going to need more. We're going to need a little help from AI, and that's exactly what's going to happen when they first
They're preparing everybody for that, for being replaced?
For sure. Yeah.
So my theory on is it racist or not racist is if you have to ask, it's not racist.
It's not racist. Yeah.
If you question whether it could be, I remember I asked a friend of mine when I worked at Crunch, the gym, and I go, is the term Jew, is this slanderous? And he goes, I don't know, let me think. I go, oh, then it's not slanderous. If you have to think about it, then it's not. You know.
Yeah.
If I go, well, why do Jews always do this?
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, dude, that's offensive. You would know instantly.
It's the context. Yeah.
If you have to think about it, that's privilege.
What is it really? Is it like Asperger's or what is it? Like some sort of a skin tick?
I don't even know.
What is it even?
Some Ari Shaffir headshot out there. I don't know. But like if you have to ask if it's racist, it's not racist. It's not bigoted if you have to ask for it because you would know instantly.
Totally.
There are some stupid ones out there like watermelon chicken. Like Dana serves me watermelon chicken every day.
I love watermelon.
And chicken? You love chicken?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but watermelon is like I eat it. I don't eat a lot of fried chicken, but watermelon I eat like
It's pretty hydrating.
every week. Yeah, like a shit ton of watermelon.
So, the old Babylonian gods and religions, they had trans priestesses in the temples.
The original sodomites.
The original that was part of the religion was to have trans who were holy priestesses at the time, and you would go to the temple and you would hook up with the trans.
Wow.
That's where coins came from. You'd have a coin at the temple. They were first printed to pay for temple prostitution, even before they were fiat currency or anything like that. It was a temple institution.
And your suggestion is that modern porn actresses are the version of that now?
Yeah, they're a continuation of that temple prostitute, and I mean, hey, they could be trans. You don't know. They could be switched in utero. Like
this is where I lose everybody, but I'm gonna say this is like I don't care what adults do with their own life. The problem with society right now is that we have mainstreamed outlaws. And most outlaws were outlaws because they couldn't do anything else. It's like the original UFC fighters. Those were just guys that would go anywhere to fight anybody because they couldn't go work a 9-to-5 job.
Matt Hughes.
Yeah,
classic
or
days.
Tank Abbott. Like, what else was Tank Abbott going to do besides meet somebody in an alley for
boxers too, like James Toney?
$300. Yeah,
He's fighting Kimbo Slice.
That's what Kimbo Slice was going to do. Yeah.
It's the same thing with prostitution and even trans. Like, trans back in the day were their own part of society on the fringes, and they lived in this area, and that's what they did because that's what they did.
They've always been a religious sacrifice, even today.
Yeah. And now we got this whole thing where it's like prostitution. Like, I tell people, you really want to see what the end results of pornography and being a porn actress is? Go to YouTube and put in porn actress deaths. And there's just guys out there that their whole content is listing all the adult film stars who have died and how they have died. And when I say 95% of the deaths are suicide, murder, drug overdose.
That sounds fun. They do it because they love it so much.
Yeah. And it's just because they had a huge trauma in their life at a very early age. We're talking child molestation, beatings, drug. They were in a drug den.
Pimped.
Yep. And this is all they knew was to do that. They were wild people who were willing to do wild shit to make money. And now the mainstream
pornographers are good at getting the runaways and getting the danger people. They're they can smell it.
And what's crazy, sometimes it doesn't even pay well. Remember that one guy that we met at the comedy club in Huntington Beach where he would play the cuck?
Yeah.
And you'd ask him how much you got paid, and he's like, $100. I'm like, bro, you're standing there while someone's fucking somebody who's supposed to be your girlfriend or wife for $100.
Yeah.
They don't do it for the money.
Yeah.
There it is. What are they doing for?
We did recognize him though. I did see. I saw him. I was like, hey,
because you like weird stuff.
You guys watching cuck videos? Actually,
huh? You hasn't watched one. No, he's the famous cuck guy. That's his thing. He only does cuck. He doesn't do porn. He just sits there and watches.
Because he has this weird hair, so it pops on it. It's like
really. He's got it. Yeah, that's funny. He's got the look.
There's some OG porno actors. I remember Tracy Lords.
Tracy Lords, Tori Wells. Tori Wells is the first time a 9 or 10 did porn.
Tara Patrick,
before they were just genetically.
Hell yeah, she's doing it at 9 and 10.
She was like in terms of looks a 9 or 10.
Oh, I thought you were talking about age.
Because the early porn stars weren't good looking. They were just willing to do it. They were willing to be on camera.
Tara Patrick, dude. You kind of knew her, right?
She came and did one of the original Naughty shows, and a lot of people can say to me, Sam, you used to do this show. But again, it was all outlaw stuff. We were outlaws.
Yeah.
And then later on, I start to realize what actually it is. Like when I first did it, and when I was first doing comedy, I wanted to talk about the things I saw in the world. And now I realize that that's not meant to be mainstream. And Rogan told me that very early on. He said that to me. He goes, this is not meant to be mainstream. People don't want to be known by this. And I have this thing where I don't think you should be known by your identity shouldn't be your sexuality because it's something you do very, very little. You don't do, even if you're a porn star, the amount of sex you're having isn't even a giant part of your day. It's 10% maybe of all the stuff that you're doing in your life. There's so much
by
more.
the dick, die by the dick.
Yeah. Yeah. And like some of them are lucky and they get out or they find an old age like Nina Hartley, but most of it's not. And then they try to leave and the stigma follows them wherever they go and they can't get any good paying jobs. And that's why I say doors are closing that you didn't even know were going to be open.
Now you have regular girls doing pornography now on record forever doing pornography. Can you imagine what that's going to do to the next generation? I'm sure you already see it.
I tell Sam, I'm more worried about the kids that their mom is an OnlyFans and they get bullied in high school. Hey, I seen your mom's vagina. There's going to be a lot more of that because back then, whose mom was a porn star? Not that many. How many moms have OnlyFans? A lot. And eventually your homie's going to be like, dude, I seen your mom's snatch. And there's going to be fights. And it's going to get crazy.
It's that funny meme that's out there about the girl walking, crying, and it's like you decided to do OnlyFans. You only made $5. Now everybody in your town knows you have pepperoni nipples
for $5.
That's funny.
That's a deal. It's dominoes.
Yeah,
unbelievable. What a nightmare. You throw your whole life away.
But it is like, and this gets in again. I was talking to somebody about we would go to this coffee shop, and it was all old guys. And he's like, oh, there's so many senior citizens here. And I go, dude, I want to talk to every one of them. I want to hear what they have to say. But in our society that is frowned upon, the wisdom of age is frowned upon. The new car smell of youth is prioritized. And we want 20-year-olds to be telling us how the world works when they have no clue how the world works. Because everyone's allowing them to do what they want to do because everyone wants to get down their pants. And they don't know jack shit. Like there's this whole, like, it's now bled into the podcast game. Now there's adult film, super young chicks who are OnlyFans are doing adult podcasts, and they just sit like spread eagle in their chair as they talk the whole time.
Naked?
No, they sit like with their yoga pants on, their camel toe rocking, and they just talk about all the drugs they did that whole week.
Dude, there's like these fitness influencers that it's just all guys gawking at them on Instagram and their tight ass,
but again, it gets into like, we're not meant to see that.
No. Yeah, it fries your brain. And then this one that is somebody I know. That's why I follow her. She
okay, Johnny.
No, it is. It's anyway from high school. And she complains all the time about guys hitting on her in her DMs. Like she'll put them on blast. Like this. Anyway, yeah, that's hilarious to me. I mean, we know what you're doing. It's not big. Nobody's here to watch your form on bicep curls. You know what I'm saying?
That squat. How does she? What's her form on that squat?
Exactly. I mean, nobody's there for that, dude.
But it's everywhere. Before, like I would say this, when I was growing up, there was the slut.
Yeah.
And she hooked up with everybody, and she got all the positive and all the negative. Now it's everywhere.
That was a public service.
Yeah. Now it's everywhere, and it's making bonding impossible.
But she's allowed to be a slut. If she wants to be, she's allowed to be a slut. Remember back then when girls used to hate on sluts? Now I just hear girls if she wants to be. Is it bad being promiscuous? And I hear other girls, I'm like, yes, it kind of is, but you don't want to.
Well, it makes bonding impossible. It makes being in a committed relationship impossible.
Bondage, not bonding.
Bonding. It makes bonding impossible.
Yeah.
And it just gets into this whole thing that like this false reality that's being projected onto these girls at a very young age, and their parents are equally okay with it.
Damn, so there's no high school slut anymore? Like,
no,
you don't know
they're
also, it's everybody?
Dude, I haven't been in high school since 91.
No.
You're asking me like I'm doing like
no, because I'm saying
data research.
No.
Hi, can you answer a couple questions?
No, because you're right. There was a high school slut. There was that one girl that you knew. Oh, that girl blows guys, and she's the one that gets around. I'm wondering since it's so what there's not one girl you get to all the girls pick on, and all the guys are like, oh, that's the slut.
No, now it's like, oh, they're all.
Wow.
because
A whole generation of Laura Palmers. How are you supposed to fight against that?
Yeah, that's funny.
you're so right. And they've made it a feminist issue. When you see, those shows where all these OnlyFans stars, they're humiliation rituals. These OnlyFans stars go on this show. Someone who's really good at debating, like Andrew Wilson, who we've had his wife on the show. I love her. He'll go on there and he'll just tear into them. He's 40-year-old man or whatever debating 20-year-old girls. And before that, they know that they'll get a ton of OnlyFans subscribers. And it's now bled into this Shannon Sharp stuff, the Trevor Bauer stuff, where it's like, all I have to, or the best example is Alex Pereira, the martial arts, the mixed martial arts, like one of the best to ever do it, kickboxing and all that stuff. He hooked up with this chick. No, he hooked up with this chick. She 100% consented to it. Even when she's talking about how he SA'd her, she says it was consensual. You hear that all the time. It's consensual, but it's still SA, sexual assault. It's a crazy ass thing. He got
thrown under the bus. He's like canceled or something for
no, because of the Me Too movement, nobody believes anybody anymore, which is a giant disservice to the feminists, to women. Because when it does really happen, and it does really happen, nobody believes them. Especially when it just goes straight to civil suit. There isn't even a police investigation.
Nope. And even when people call out, let's say, high-level rulers or something, they'll say, no, we interviewed the children. They got false memory syndrome. They actually perjured themselves during the testimony. It's like that.
It's so dark. But again, it's this whole thing about what you say is the nature of opposing forces. What do you mean by that? Oh, he froze up again. Right? I mean, it's just completely, and it's just, like, we talk about it on the show. It's like, I'm not saying women shouldn't be educated. I want my daughters to be educated. But there is something about higher education that leads women to not want to have children.
It's just crazy to think that. Like, when I just thought, in high school, I was like, they just want to learn. Just want to go to college. I never see it like, they're trying to not have them to have kids. They want them to have a career. They want them to be so in love with that career where they forget anything else.
Well, it is. I mean, our human nature, which we're all programmed to want to procreate, is at odds with the desire for career and making your own money and that kind of thing.
Well,
like,
Johnny, when you brought up Japan earlier, that's the best example of it. Yeah. Women are nesters, okay?
By nature, yeah.
That's that. When you start dating a girl, she starts smuggling her stuff slowly. Starts with her toothbrush, and then eventually she has all of her stuff in your house, and you're like, I guess you're living here now.
But you can want things, that are at
that's
odds
what they
with nature.
do.
Yeah.
But that's why they're really great in offices. Because they just nest in their cubicle. They nest in their work environment. Men aren't meant to do that. Men are meant to be out and hunting and building and doing all that stuff. That's why men aren't as prolific in the... Are you there?
Yeah, we got him.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, welcome back.
Sorry,
welcome
boys.
back. We're battling the forces here. But what we're getting into, dude, is that, Charles without an E, what we're talking about right now is like higher education and just why women are so successful in the workplace is because their natural wiring is to, in fact, nest. So they go and they get a job in a cubicle. They create a nest, and they're used to task oriented, which would be being back in the village, clean, taking care of the children, making sure the environment is good. So when the guy comes back from a major hunt or going to war, he has a nice place. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And
instead, they were tricked into paying taxes instead of having children.
Yeah,
which is pretty nice.
So
pretty fun.
They use that against them.
Yeah. And they create chaos in the workspace and with education, teaching boys and everything. It's the opposite of who you want teaching you. Women that hate you.
Well,
generally speaking,
any ideology is based in idealism, obviously, right?
Yeah.
based in this idea that it could be perfect if we just did this, this, and this. And human nature is very flawed and not idealistic. And therefore, that's when we start getting into all these things. And we've seen that all this headbutting going on. And we've seen now with the Me Too movement that in the workplace, men don't want to work with women on projects, on anything, because they all think they're going to get Me Too'd, because the idea is that I want to do this, therefore I should have it. It is the basis of Marxism, which is that the equality of outcomes, not opportunity, but the equality of outcomes. Right? I mean, like this notion that because I'm doing this, I should have A, B, and C. It should happen. And if it doesn't happen, it's because I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm this. And that's just not how the world works. And therefore, that's where the conflict comes from. And we've been so long through this new age of thinking that people are over it. They don't want to participate in it anymore. And now we have Asia, again, super intelligent population, having a depopulation disaster. You know?
You don't think they can fix it?
Who wants to? We want to, the older people, because we need children to continue society.
I mean, there's no incentive for the government to support its own citizens in breeding. It makes more sense for them just to bring foreigners in and to displace the population. It makes more military sense to do that.
In Japan,
that's why you see it done.
Yeah, well, in Japan, I mean, they're concerned about it for what you just said, though. The military, the guy they had on that 60 Minutes piece was talking about, you know, for defense, for supporting services.
Who are we going to fight? Aliens?
For supporting, yeah, that's a good point.
Aliens coming. Yeah, right.
Like, who's going to support the, you know, senior citizens and with their payouts, you know, from the government in our country, like Social Security, when there aren't enough young people paying in? I mean, that's always been a Ponzi scheme. But there was this stat in Japan that they sell more adult diapers than they do diapers for babies in Japan.
That's not good.
Isn't that crazy?
So you don't think the $5,000 incentive by Trump will do anything? Or you think
okay, you have a kid, you get $5,000. Okay, now what?
Wow, what's it worth?
I mean, I'm not saying it's a lot, but I mean, it's an incentive. It's like, man, if I already thought about having it.
And think about the people who will breed more because of $5,000. It's not people like you and me. It's gonna.
I'll breed like a motherfucker.
But most. I mean, you know what I mean. It's mostly gonna be people who are
in need.
Think that $5,000 is a fortune.
Well, we've already seen it with the welfare system. For every kid you have, you get a certain amount of money.
It's getting people used to taking
unbelievable
money from the government.
People wonder why the birth rate's down. You have the government replacing the dad. I mean, this isn't a new idea, but the government replaces everything, and then at the end, you have no women left. Yeah. Not even no children. You have no women because they're using incubators in some shop somewhere instead.
I mean, it's insane to me when you see these reveal parties, and they're all. Whenever it's a girl, the reaction to everybody is like, oh, I'm like, dude, that's crushing to me.
Imagine that.
I love my daughters.
Is that real?
Dude, some guy put together a compilation of reveal parties where it came to be a girl, and the mom is pretty happy, and the guy's like, oh.
Well, I mean, I think I understand that. You want to be able to relate on every level with your kid, and if it's a girl, there's just some things as a man you're not going to be able to relate to them on.
Yeah,
but in the modern times, women usually get it way worse these days. So it's probably scarier these days to have a woman because you got to protect them against OnlyFans and pornography. You got to protect them against that.
Yeah.
We have this old wiring too, where it's like we still have this farmer's mentality that we need these kids, our sons, to work on the farm, and then there's this whole belief that you produce the pro athlete. You know, that's
crazy. Yeah.
That's where that comes from.
Well, I don't think it's just. I think. I mean, I
think
can
it's
tell
a
you
lot
personally that it's. You want to be able to throw the ball. You know what I mean? Like do guy stuff with your kid. That's why I love my nephew for that reason. Because if he was a girl, there'd just be fewer things for us to relate on. You know.
We haven't even felt the real effects of this generation of childless women coming in.
Not yet. It's only starting to come in right now.
We've now started seeing them taking pictures of themselves, being like, there's a famous picture that went around of I'm 50, no, not married, no children. And she's crying because she had to make her own birthday cake. I'm like, well, that means you don't.
That's rough.
So sad.
Right. I mean, there are people who can't have kids, but you can adopt. And, you know, but it's the demonization of motherhood.
Yep.
And this whole thing I'm working on, I'm going to talk about tomorrow in the revival is that what was I going to say? Oh man, what was I going to say? Oh, take a look at people who are telling you how to live your life and ask yourself if you really believe that they're happy.
Such a good point.
Talk about someone that does that.
Chelsea Handler admits she's reconsidering marriage and looking for a British husband after those Ralph Fiennes rumors, as she reveals.
Rafe Fiennes, yeah.
Rafe Fiennes, whatever. Rafe Fiennes rumors as she reveals her relationship status and why she doesn't. This chick can not stop talking about not having kids.
She having sex with Ralph still?
Yeah, she's been turned out. Now she wants to be in a conservative relationship.
She's the SNL one, right? That's like this. I don't have children.
No, she's the Chelsea lately woman who was famous for like, and this is what women do. They're like, I can wake up in the morning, do a bong hit, drink vodka, go skiing. And you're like,
it's good influence.
But you don't understand, at like 50, you don't want to do any of that. You don't want to wake up and take a glass of vodka.
Vodka first thing the second you wake up in bed.
But nobody tells them. And then people like Chelsea lie to younger generations.
Pretend that it's fun, but they want to die.
Yeah.
Yep.
Happens all the fucking time.
Imagine what it does. The damage that their influence does to women, it's incalculable, and they should be in jail.
I think I agree, man. I mean,
Yeah,
a woman
they should
who's
be
a
in
very
jail.
good friend of mine, Whitney Cummings, and I do love her with all my heart. She was like anti-kids, and now she has kids, and it's completely changed her view of the world.
Nice.
Which is what kids do. You tend to become more conservative when you have children because you don't want them to go into a crazy world. And when you don't
want them to be molested the second they're out of your sight, like this world promotes. And they say, "What are you, gay? What are you, a prude? Oh, what are you,
I'm with
insecure
you.
or something?"
You haven't I mean, maybe I've seen this differently, but have you seen a lot of men that are running and gunning end up telling you that running and gunning isn't it at the end of it?
Yeah, it's
Like you tell me, like, dude, I ran and gun, but at the end of the day, it's not what
it's empty calories.
Yeah, men end up telling you. Yeah. Chelsea Handler ends up keep lying to the people, saying that she was wrong.
Sebastian Maniscalco and I used to co-headline with each other. That's all you need to know right there. He's playing arenas, married with 2 kids, and I'm very blessed. That's not me complaining, but it's like there is something to that. Like it's
crazy.
It's the ant and the grasshopper fable,
Like,
right?
who else says it? Like Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate now has a family with the wife, and he says like, "Oh, I'm not running, gunning, fuck having 100 chicks." Dan Bilzerian, a lot of these guys that you inspire, like, oh, at the end of it, they're like, "Dude, you don't want to be doing
But
that."
it goes back to what Charles was talking about. It's sex energy. You're literally casting
Who knows what it
spells
does?
every
What does
time
it
you do
feed?
that.
Pursuing public office too, though. Andrew Tate. I wonder how much that influences.
Right.
You know, it's funny too. Like young people, especially young women, one of the most popular phrases you see, and they'll even get it like on the wall and stuff, is "no regrets." You know that you see that among, you don't see any old people like "no regrets," but young people like "no regrets." You know, like
because you don't care because you're in the middle of it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
YOLO.
Such a dumb. Yeah, it's such a dumb mindset.
But it's like it's just this whole thing of the inverted reality. I've never felt more lonely in LA comedy than I do today at this very moment. It's just like I am excommunicated. And, you know, I was blessed that Gavin McGinnis and and my buddy Josh Denny asked me to do their show. And I did it because I'm a big fan of Gavin McGinnis, and Josh Denny is a good friend of mine. And I'm sure there's people that were like, oh my God. I even had people tweet me, is this the road you want to go down? Is this the road you want to go down?
The Gavin McGinnis show?
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
It is the road I want to go down for a couple reasons. And one of them is they're the ones asking me to do shows. All the people I've
But it's
helped.
not like he's fucking Hitler or anything.
Oh, you're not supposed to do shows with those guys? Is that what that means?
Yeah,
like they're like
in
verboten or
L.A.
something?
In the land of conformity
so
wins.
In
You're
the
not supposed
child
to-
molestation capital of the United
Yeah.
States.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I do joke about it. It's like, Sam, why didn't you make it? Oh, because I don't molest children. I'm not a Satan
yes.
worshiper
Hell
who
yes.
doesn't molest children. You know?
That's enough to get you thrown out of the industry alone.
Well, it's just like, why are all these guys so shady? Why is everybody so shady? Why is everybody so like demonic? You know, we were talking about, this on Broken Sim about how, I like this new kind of era of black entertainment that's coming out with, Jordan Peele, and all that stuff. But a lot of it is demonic. I like it because it's not like basic stuff that you see, like the basic comedy that's being done. And
They doing voodoo shit? What do you mean?
Johnny, like the
It's
new.
just the subject matter. Yeah, he's got this new Jordan Peele. I don't know if he's producing it or directing it or both, but it's called Him. And it's got, the imagery in it is, the trailer rather, is very, very obviously
Rather
demonic.
satanic?
He's in a pentagram. Like, it's about athletes and how they kind of have to prostitute themselves, sell their souls.
Probably getting their
basically.
assholes peeled apart.
Well, yeah, possibly. But I do wonder with those guys how much of it is commentary on the reality of how
It's an
our
admission.
society,
An admission.
or or that. That's I wonder. Like,
It's a revelation of the method.
Is he part of that system, or is he commenting on that system?
Nah, they're always obsessed with telling you how they've been raped. That's just how. That's why every filmmaker mostly does all their stuff. It's especially in Hollywood.
But
it's like,
wait,
this is my
but does
initiation.
that perpetuate it, or is that a commentary on what happened?
Well, I mean,
No,
like,
I just think it's just their. It's part of the ritual is to venerate it further.
you
what's
think
his
it's
face
venerated,
that did The Shining? What was the director?
Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick?
Stanley Kubrick, right? I mean, like, can we say? I mean, there's a picture of him walking with Jolly West, who was the famous psyop psychiatrist who like worked with all of these people that ended up doing crazy stuff.
Isn't he the Jack Ruby guy? Like,
Jack
is he
Ruby, Charles Manson.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he
hell
even
yes.
met with Timothy McVeigh at some point.
Oh, John Doe number 1, number 2, whatever that was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. They all have handlers, even if they're AAA Hollywood directors. They have a guy with a cattle prod waiting to freaking put him out unconscious and rape him.
I mean, look at Kanye West. Is there any better example of what we're talking about?
They're gonna put him down. You watch, dude. He already said. Did you see? He tweeted the other day that he got a text from a guy that was like, "Dude," and this is what the text said: "The Jews, man, they came together, put a lot of money together to put a hit out on you," and that's what I heard. And Kanye, he thinks it's legit. So I don't.
He's probably just reading the script though. It's probably his job to talk about all that stuff.
What's his role, dude?
Yeah, it's his role. He's off on his own. Yeah. Was this Rambo we're talking about? No.
You don't think they're doing the same thing to Justin Bieber?
Oh, you mean raping him?
100. Yo, yeah, for sure.
Look at the way he looks like he's aged a million years.
He's going broke.
No, see, but I think that's all fake. I think he's fine, and I think like they're just saying it, kind of like what they do with Jacko Wacko,
It
just
could be.
with Kanye.
The face doesn't lie, though, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
haggard.
But the whole thing, the reason I say is because paparazzi doesn't come to your house the way they're coming to his house. Someone's paying for him to get stalked. Paparazzi ain't like it was before. Like, there's no people outside people's houses unless someone's paying for like, hey, go make this person look crazy, annoy them enough where they start acting out. Get the fuck out of my house, leave, and then they record that. Now you're the crazy person. Pulls off this hanger, and now he's.
And they're making him dance at Coachella. Remember they're making him dance?
I don't know about that, but
so
the whole
good.
The whole
do you mean?
paparazzi.
Bad treatment, man. He gets such bad treatment.
He was at Coachella, and they caught him like kind of.
I mean,
maybe
Britney
drunk.
Spears.
Yeah.
Tell me she hasn't been through the grinder. She hasn't been, and it's just this whole thing where we, again, I am sure women are going to hate this episode because we're just calling
Guys
out the
sitting
whole.
around talking about women. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, there's things that guys do wrong too, dude. I mean, like, this incel thing is a very big thing. I mean, we are seeing careerless. I mean, we want to talk about childless women. Let's talk about careerless men.
Dude, the half of Japan's like 20 somethings are virgins, is what they were saying. Half of them, and just never been with a woman.
Hanging
at all.
out in toilets with cameras on or whatever they do.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
well,
buying
like,
panties from a vending machine. That's
AI
great.
relationships and relationships with anime characters. That's a big
Tentacle
thing.
porn.
Or careerless men with just part-time jobs. because companies don't even want to hire you full time. Because if you're full time now, they have to pay their insurance. Now you're on overtime. They keep you at part time for as long as they fucking can.
That's the
Must everything be hell?
Yeah,
They can just print money.
This. No, you're
UBI's coming for sure.
Yeah, and that's not good either.
No, but they're laying the way. They're kind of laying the tracks for it. Yeah.
You know what happens in society when you have UBI and socialism?
What's
the only
the
people that
motivation?
are able to get out of the poverty are people who get into politics, athletes, and entertainers.
Celebrity's the only way.
And if you already had it,
And it's complete. LA is completely and utterly rigged. It's completely and utterly rigged.
People thought it was a meritocracy, but it's just one big casting couch. And I mean, and people still don't believe it. They're like, oh, I'm going to go there. I'm going to make it big because I'm that good. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, dude, that's the one. I remember growing up, you thought if you came across somebody who could really sing, or, you saw like Whitney Houston on TV, you're like, boy, that's special. And then you see American Idol and you realize, no, dude, that's singing ain't even that. There's just millions of people who can sing.
play an
And what are
instrument,
the
yeah.
Millions of
connections?
people. Yeah.
What are the connections?
It's what you're willing to do if you're lucky, and then what are your connections? That's it. Yeah.
Sad.
And then they all crash and burn.
Yeah. I mean, we did it on Broken Sim. Katy Perry's having a meltdown on stage. I don't know what that show was.
Master, I don't feel so good.
Katy
She was
Perry?
mumbling a few years ago.
What,
Talk about
she's-
Katy Perry. I thought
her
she was in
stage show. Have you
space and
seen
she
her-
healed. She's not healed. They didn't heal her. They didn't get healed. I thought that's why they went up
She's
there.
just- Her stage show is terrible right now.
Why'd she buy that nunnery all those years ago? I thought she was going to become a fucking nun.
Well, because it's anti-God. You're
Yeah.
kicking out
War on heaven.
80-year-olds. War on heaven.
Yep.
My Christian
Everything
friend
they
got
do.
mad at me because I said it was fallen angels versus God. And he goes, God's above all. I go, okay, I'll take that. But then if it's not going up, it's going down, which is fallen angels versus God's greatest creation, which is man and women.
People won't believe that it's a religious thing or a spiritual thing at the end of the day, but it really is more than anything. More than anything, it's a war on heaven, war on God, and they try to do this abomination to force God to come home and destroy the world for another flood or a firebomb or something. They give the finger to heaven or something. It has to be their religion or a part of it.
I agree. I totally agree with these mRNA vaccines
Yep.
changing your genes.
It's to piss God off, so he comes home and destroys all the goblins that deserve to go to hell.
Yep. I totally, I don't even know if hell exists, but it's like this to destroy, I mean, there seems to be layers to this shit, right? There's high vibrational, low vibrational.
Yep.
And, and do you get stuck in here? And like, what is it? And then there's this whole notion that this is a prison planet for souls that got
Scary
out
thoughts.
of pocket
Yep.
and that we're here to see if we can right the wrongs.
Those are scary thoughts, though. It's hard
suck.
it's so hard to rationalize those things like the moon, solar recycler, and forced reincarnation. Like it's difficult to put that stuff in perspective. It's such a nightmare.
But
Science
it's
fiction thoughts.
So much more fun. It's so much more fun to talk about. The conspiracy nightly news would be so much better than anything MSNBC ever put out ever.
Dude, I've thought
The
about
Art
that.
Bell stuff, the
That
classics.
would be a YouTube of that. I've thought about that.
Welcome to the nightly news today.
A whole
Lizard
channel,
people.
a whole channel, like on instead of Channel 5, Conspiracy 5.
Yeah.
And just a little bit of Alex Jones, a little bit of Candace
What's
Owens,
that
just
morning
everything.
show? What's that morning show? Rise, or you know what I'm talking about? Those two people, that guy and that girl.
A redacted.
No, it's like Rise. Is that it?
Austin Picard does a daily, calls it the Daily Dump. But
Yeah, something like that would be
he does a daily,
Daily Dump
show.
with Max Spears, I think.
There's I mean, every name's been used, but at this point, it's just, it's 10 times more interesting. The problem is, like, I had to hire a lawyer to deal with the shadow banning on Instagram.
I hope that
Wow.
works.
We'll see. They're charging me a penny for it,
Yeah, boy.
but I had to pay $3,000 to get my Instagram back, and now I got to pay another bunch of loot to get them to unban me.
What the fuck?
The Instagram. Do you think they actually got it back for you, the Instagram, or that just ran its course? What do you think they got it back?
No, they got it back.
They got back.
They got it back.
So
for sure.
but that's got to be a scam.
Well, that Asian porn star ruined it when she said she was banging everybody at Facebook so she could get her Instagram back. And then they're like, hold on, what's going on? And then they just shut that right down.
Oh.
But my lawyer told me they don't have a policy on shadow banning. It's off the books. But it's like I lost my privilege to live stream because I posted something I thought could be a little bit dangerous. So I literally posted it and I go, oh no, that's not good. I took it right down. And 2 seconds later, it's like, you violated our policies. I go, it's not there anymore. And Johnny with Twitter, he can't talk to anybody. But this is the astroturfing of our reality.
I got banned.
And it goes back to exposure again. Who gets the exposure? The people they want to be seen.
Yeah.
Who gets shadow banned? The people they don't want to get seen.
Good influences are pushed down like that. Anything that's going to be a net positive to our civilization. It's all the influence. People think that influence isn't brokered. It's not brokered at the highest level. People are insane. To think like Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, he's just that good. He's got a night show.
Well, yeah, and he obviously plays ball. They can tell through data what you're into, what you're not into.
Yeah.
And eventually you meet somebody who's connected going, oh, he's a weirdo. Let's control this dude. Let's put him in positions, and then we tell him if he doesn't play ball, we're going to let everybody know what a weirdo you are.
It's like Russell Brand, you get a heroin junkie or something. He's fast forward a few years, he's talking about Christ. I'm like, oh my God, man. Driving me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that whole thing was that he was going to have a Me Too movement, and it's come. And then they said that was the whole purpose for him doing it. You know, and there's a lot of people that think like Ian Carroll and Candace Owen are all controlled ops, but it seems to be blowing up in their face. It seems to be getting away from them to the point where, like, do you guys see that thing where that chick in the, what's it called, Johnny? The Muslim scarf?
A turban?
No, it goes kind
Hijab?
of, it starts with a K. Kef or Kiev or
yeah, I know.
whatever that is. She's walking in it, and then this horde of Zionists are following her, and somebody kicks her. Turns out she's Jewish, right? And then you gotta go, why is why is this camera guy never getting knocked around?
It's almost like they're on a film set. Weird.
Yep. And it's all about astroturfing, dude.
Yep.
It's all astroturfing.
There's nothing organic. There's nothing grassroots about anything at all. And if there is, then it gets smashed down pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They wouldn't allow that, people to influence people on their own.
So Texas just passed these anti-Semitic laws.
Oh.
And some people, Harrelson, I forget what his name is. He's from InfoWars. But he's like, dude, this violates Second Amendment, and this violates the separation of church and state. But it's like, is this all being done on purpose? Is this to convince all the Jews they're so hated they got moved back to Israel, like to fulfill prophecy?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Wow, I thought they were all going to the Ukraine or something to.
Well, that is the new Israel. That's the greater Israel, or so it has a certain name. The new Israel.
I heard that.
Right?
That's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, like, you can get into it. You know, it's like you got what's the leader of Russia's name? Sorry, guys, Putin. Yeah, Putin going, we're battling anti-Semitism. I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. Oh, then you go, okay, he's Jewish. Putin's Jewish.
He's got his Mason apron on with George Bush, and all those guys are all sucking each other's dicks.
Yeah, and you can get into basically the discussion of, is him and Zelensky together in this like kind of fake presentation of theater of war? Are they ethnically cleansing white Christians in Ukraine?
There's no such thing as war. The only reason for any conflict is to annihilate whites, Europeans, and Christians. It's the only reason. You saw it with World War I and II. There's no such thing as war. There's only genocide. That's it.
I haven't heard that Putin is Jewish, and I can't find any evidence of that.
That's what I've read.
Okay.
So take it for what it is. But I've read that he is in fact Jewish.
They say Hitler was
he's like
too, though.
Russian Orthodox, right?
And
What?
Hitler technically was Jewish, right? They say.
That's my belief.
Yeah, and without Hitler, there'd be no Israel.
That's my belief.
Wow.
You think he's Jewish ethnically or
Who?
religion? Putin.
I think he is. I don't know the difference.
Genetically.
I think he's
Like
genetically.
he shares genes with. I haven't heard that, and
He shares pajamas with the Masons and all those guys. Remember that picture? They're
Yeah,
all
so
in pajamas together.
Nelson Mandela, famous Freemason.
He died in the 90s, didn't he? And you remember him dying
Who
a
knows?
while ago?
With the Mandela effect, it could be anything. But again,
Berenstain. Yeah, right.
it's this thing where it's like everything that is presented to you is to detach you from God. That is
Yep.
it. Even these churches with all these pedophiles, that is done on purpose to detach you from God.
Yep.
When you look at the Catholic Church, has received more money to bring immigrants into America than anybody else. They were
Yep.
instrumental in the replacement theory.
Yep.
And they can
The
call
people
you
are like, oh
crazy.
no, they're going to be a new generation of Christians. Yeah, I bet.
I think that people are getting more spiritual now on the outside of organized religion. I think people are getting closer to God, and they're not getting into, because a lot of people like to go to church because it's community. They connect with others. You want to connect with others. That's
Fellowship.
That's life. Like at the end of the day, it's like a rich man, poor man both go in a coffin, you know. But it's like, how many connections did you make? And again, getting back to wrapping up with the pornography stuff, it's like that lifestyle detaches you from so much of society.
How do you cleanse yourself, or how do you be clean in the sight of the Lord? People have no perspective on what it is to be spiritually clean, and to even be admitted into a temple or the holiest of holies, or even have a communication with God. People think you can just be some sort of a prostitute and all of a sudden just start talking. People have no idea what
But let me ask you
purification
something.
is.
Do you think you can change?
Yeah, anybody can change. If you torture someone enough, you can change any behavior at all.
But the other way, from darkness to light.
You should be able to torture yourself enough to modify behavior. Definitely. I've done it.
Yeah, me too.
Everyone's done it. You've beaten yourself up enough to know. You look in the mirror like this, you should blast yourself, and you're like, I got to change. You do it to yourself, and you give yourself the mirror treatment. Other people, maybe they never wake up.
Yeah, and I think they don't realize, again, the doors that are closing on them because they don't want to listen to anybody. And it's
They
just
say
sad.
it's you only live once. Who cares what happens? Oh, people don't get it. Maybe this is just the beginning. Maybe you have to go through another roller coaster hell ride when you die. According to some, like the Orthodox, you got to do a lot of working against the demons and in the other vibrations. But that's kind of too scary to think about. It makes me sick to think about that. You got to deal with more bullshit after this world. Oh.
There's a part of me also thinks that if there is reincarnation, that you come back to the exact same life and the exact same time.
I have a feeling sometimes, a strong feeling that I'm going to end up doing all these things again. Like I just innate, like I feel that. And I don't believe that, but I get that feeling. Like I just feel like I'm going to be in high school again.
Is that a little
But
bit
like
of...
my whole theory is like, what if you come back to the exact same life?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Like
I feel it.
something about video games tell me that they're trying to tell us something.
But when you mean the exact same life, you mean like they
Like,
let you try it all over again?
You
or
come
you do,
right back here.
And
What's the difference?
Everything exactly the same. Or you said I'm given the chance again, and I get to.
Or are you thinking
maybe
about
work with you, not work with you?
Sorry. So, yeah. Or
This
you
is just a
saying
feeling
when you
I
die, you drop back in like you didn't die on another, like
No.
at the same age? Or are you saying birth again from birth?
Birth.
Okay.
You come back to the exact same. I mean, if you study video games, when you die, what do? You start that level over again.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, like, if that's so, do you think you still flunk that same math test? Or do you think this time
No.
get to do it differently? However,
You get to do it differently.
But how would anything be different if you have no memory of your past
Because-
lives and
because
all the variables are the same?
Because you do have some sort of different wiring going in.
Do you feel like you're banking on any kind of past wisdom from another?
Right now?
From another old life, though, I'm saying. Like, do you feel like you came into this world with some wisdom from a past life now? Because it would suggest
But maybe
that
that's the whole thing. Maybe in the past one, I was even crazier than I was in this one.
Oh, that would be fun.
And then I'm like, in that, at whatever age, when I started the show 8 years ago, so that was 44, I learned a whole bunch of stuff that if I had to go back and I could keep that as some residual memory.
Does my head in, though, because now what if you live your life differently and then you don't have kids at the exact, you your kids aren't conceived at the exact same moment, so they're different kids. How are they supposed to come back to that same moment if they weren't, you get what I'm saying?
Oh, Johnny, yeah, I don't fucking mean with that.
Yeah,
and
but
what about the butterfly effect? You remember that movie with Ashton Kutcher? Remember he was such a sexy kid. No matter what he did, he was always pimped out and used to make pornography and molested. He couldn't escape, so he hanged himself in his mom's womb.
Oh, they got some blackmail on him. I can already.
Oh yeah, he's part of darkness, but I don't know, man. Maybe my children's life is different than my. Maybe there is a. I mean, this is just everything I talk about on the show is just this feeling I have.
Yep.
And that's what I feel, that maybe there might be variables along the way.
Do you think is that what if deja vu? You think it has anything to do with that? Maybe.
Maybe.
We all get deja. Everyone's felt deja vu. We're like, hey, I've been here before.
Yeah. And maybe that's what that's from. Maybe those deja vu moments are like, okay, here's where you made the wrong decision that time. Here's a new decision you got to make. I don't know. I'm just talking.
God, I hope not. I hope the world isn't the crucible that's the refiner's freaking fire all the way around. You have to do it until you're purified. But it wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me.
Yeah, there's so many things I couldn't do again, dude.
If you went, if I was blessed to go back with the mindset I have back before and do it all over again, I wonder what my life would be like. Now, I get saddened by the thought that my kids might not be my kids. That would really upset me. But maybe they show up in a different form.
Maybe you show up in a different form.
Maybe I show up.
That's like that one joke that you say where you're like, your plane joke. Where you're like, I've met these people. I knew these people. We've been soulmates for life. And you say this joke, and I'm like, dude, that's because you do meet people like that. You're like, hey, I
feel like I've known you forever. So that's the whole point.
That's also in Nietzsche. He had this idea that you would repeat infinitely, like that's eternal recurrence. I think Woody Allen has a joke about it. He's like, oh, great, I'll have to live through the ice capades again.
I have to marry my own daughter again.
Yeah, but
that's a myth.
Yeah, dude, you came to the wrong show for that because we think he got set up.
Hey, I don't take that off the table. I get it.
Because the picture they show with him with the Asian girl is not the Asian that he married. Yeah, but they present that as that.
That is his daughter, but not.
It's not the daughter he married.
Sun Yi was never his daughter. They never lived in the same house. He never related to her as a daughter. Yeah.
But that's the presentation because that is the beginning of the Me Too movement, which is.
Sure.
To detach men from women and the weaponized relationships. So that Chelsea Handler, who whole career was based off of sending a sex tape to go to comedy festivals where she was known for bombing.
Sex tape? She had 7 sex?
Well, what she did back in the day is she would, like if you wanted to go to a festival, comedy festival, this is in the early 2000s or before, you would send this booker of this festival your tape.
Yeah.
So what she did was she was so new to comedy, she did a tape in her living room. She did a tape in her living room, and it's her in her living room just talking to a camera, talking about waiting tables. And she has this Jersey hair, and it's really big. And then there's
Have you seen this?
Yeah. And then there's this weird jump cut edit. And there's somebody fumbling with a camera, and it focuses. It's her on all fours.
Yeah?
Naked, just getting plowed by some guy who looks like Jean Van Damme. You can't see his face, but he's just...
Wow.
And he's just knocking the bottom of it. And then he finishes. She laughs into the camera. Jump cut again to her doing stand-up.
Oh, so like it wasn't even a mistake. At first, I thought like, she used the tape where she had porn.
She wants the people who are getting it to think that, I'm sure, but yeah.
No, she knew exactly. She wanted them to be like, "Hey, dude, I'm a whore.
Yeah, let's bring her here
to your festival.
Someone will hit it."
And she did it. And she get into these festivals, and she was just known for bombing there. And then she went on and she did her stuff, and then all these stories that people on the show would tell me about all the racist shit she'd do on the show.
You mean genuinely racist or just funny
dude,
shit?
she held up a picture of a gorilla, and she goes, "Hey, everybody, check out Lonnie Love's family."
I don't know who Lonnie Love is. Is she a gorilla?
No. She's a famous black female comic.
How dare. Chelsea.
I mean,
wait, but are we not? Oh, so we're not here for that. We're not like, hey, that's
no,
comedy.
that's comedy. Okay, that's comedy. But we're talking about somebody who's pushing a progressive narrative of these people are all the racist.
So by her,
she's an authority on anything at all.
Yeah, she's just she's just a super progressive person who fucked her way to the top and now is trying to lecture everybody on how to be a proper adult.
Sad.
Yep.
And it's
who asked for her? Who asked for her advice?
The married man she fucked for her show.
Oh.
And, she gets this first show where she's doing pranks on the beach and stuff like that. But, she's sending in these tapes with her just getting drilled. And guys are like, oh. And again, monkey DNA can't don't know. I mean, especially the naivety of 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Like, monkey, I see naked chick. I'm like, well, my monkey DNA takes over.
That's before your Instagram was flooded with it.
I mean, dude, there was a video of a girl with the fattest rack you've ever seen cooking, and my monkey DNA. And they have these things now these girls have where they can
Cooking
put on their
tits?
nipples, and it makes it look like their nipples are rock hard. They're like weird
I've seen
pasties.
that.
Oh, no, they have specific bras that are meant to like show that they don't have a bra on, but they have a bra on, but
It's just super popped out nipples, and she's like working with meat, and you're just like,
That Chelsea Handler thing's online now. Apparently, I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
is it? Because I think she tried to stop it from being put out.
I mean, there's stills. I'm not watching the video, obviously, but the stills. There's
obviously, he's gonna watch it.
No, I mean while we're recording, I'll check it out later. Obviously.
Okay. Yeah, nothing good comes from that. But again,
Sad
pussy
world.
is the easiest way to move up economic status. Physical beauty is the easiest way. I mean, we did something on doom scrolling about Kevin Federline. His dick has gotten him $100 million.
That's a lot of money.
He just hooks up with these insanely hot rich blondes, and they pay him in the divorce every time. They pay him in the divorce, and by the time,
Oh wow, he's got a good racket. He's got like a Nick Lachey thing going on from back in the day.
3 different women have paid him a total of $100 million.
Wow.
Imagine being Tommy Lee. You can play drums and you got the schlong. I mean, that's
His girlfriend's Brittany
Does Tommy Lee
Furlong.
even have $100 million? That's a bit.
no, not 100 mil.
He still hasn't dented what the women owe us.
What?
He still hasn't dented like what the women have done to us. Like he's barely even touching it.
Again, it's predatorial. It's like this relationship has become predatorial. It's like, can I extract? This is the Shan Sharp stuff. Can I extract wealth from this guy? Can I? Because again, I love women. It's just I don't want to be super negative towards them. I don't want them.
I was gonna ask you about that. Do you think the second a female like that, a young female, starts staying such a superstar, they instantly get a lawyer? As in, like, how do I make sure
but what they
always
do,
keep him? Because how's she that smart to record and to have him say this?
Why
thing?
is Shannon Sharp not dumb enough to know what's going on?
That's another thing. Yeah.
Why are you saying things that could be used against you?
On the phone, yeah. Like I could see our lawyer telling her, "Hey, make sure he says this and record it." Because why is she recording these calls? Like it's just when you're in a relationship, you just have phone calls with people and you record them.
Elon Musk got that Jewish chick pregnant, right? And they see her. She did something where it's like there's apps that will make your where you can't screenshot the messaging.
Yeah.
So she was using another camera to take pictures of it,
Classic.
which is predatorial.
Yeah.
And it's just like if you're a rich man, you are chumming a Shark Tank. And then if you're a gorgeous woman, the only people hitting on you are psychopaths, because guys don't think you want anything to do with them because most likely you don't, right? I mean, like this new study that comes from these dating apps says that 100% of the women think 80% of the men are not just not good looking, ugly.
So they're all after 20%.
That's why these guys are just banging everything that moves, because they have to.
That's why I have to. That's why I do it. I just have to.
I mean, like, and then it inflates these, like a girl who would be a 6 or a 7, maybe an 8, a 10 hits on them, a guy, high value guy. They start thinking that's who they should be dating when they don't realize the guy just wants to bust one. Man,
We're fucked.
great episode, dude.
Sad. Yeah. Retarded world. I'll tell you that. I feel it every day.
So what do you do in the road? Are you road dogging it? What do you do comedically?
Yeah, well, we've been doing the road up until a couple weeks ago. We did Toronto. We did a big Canada and Ohio thing. But to my knowledge, just with the remainder of the production of Extreme Peace, it's I think the stand up is on tour till a bit in the summer. I think it's going to pick up after that. But we did, oh my God, 100 shows in the last year. Like it's
That's
insanity.
great, dude. How long you been doing it?
Yeah, probably about a year and a half. So I'm still pretty new, but we've done we were speed running it this last year and a half, like 110 shows or something like that.
That's how you do it, dude. How
Yeah,
old are you?
What's that?
How old are you?
I'm 41.
Okay, you're still young. You're still
I'm
young.
getting there.
Dude, trust me. Yeah, let me tell
never
you.
too late.
Your 50s are what you think your 40s are going to be. My 40s were my favorite
It's
decade.
all been pushed back too.
Okay, good.
It's all been pushed back. Like,
Oh yeah, 41. You got 9 years of just wonderful because you're not chasing chicks like you used to.
Yeah.
If it falls in your lap, you're like okay, but you're mostly just
You're
focusing on your building your wealth and
Yeah.
working. Whereas my 20s and 30s was just drugs and bad decisions.
Yep.
And-
Mitigating the damage from the 20s and the 30s.
100%, dude.
Yep, 100%. You're like, oh, man.
100%.
dude, if I could do it again, if you could just put my brain back in 21 years, 23, oh, bro, I would just it would life.
No,
would be
but
so
you would
much
have to
better.
go. You'd have to go. I have all this knowledge. Do I want to apply it to this 21-year-old kid and kind of pick up where I was when I was old? Meaning, let's say you're doing conspiracies and all that shit. Or do I want to go back and play the game to see what doors could possibly open? That's it.
Yeah.
So when young comics hit me up, I always give them two sets of advice. I go, here's what I did, and I'm doing wonderful. And here's what my insanely successful friends did. Pick your path, young man. So the question is,
Good advice.
do you go down the other path this time?
Yeah, but I do agree with that. But like in a weird way, would you have had as much fun if you didn't go your way?
No, I mean,
That's what I mean. Like some people got to go your way.
but
Some
let me
people
just
love
say
that fun.
this. It is empty calories. The fun I had is empty calories.
Yep.
It means nothing to nobody.
I didn't have any fun. I was just,
I had too much fun because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. I thought we were all supposed to be Led Zeppelin. And we're really meant to be Elvis Costello.
I've seen him twice over the past couple of years. Love Elvis Costello.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to be, right? This kind of nerdy guy. I mean, I wouldn't change anything right now. I mean, there's things in my life. There's a lot of turbulence in parts of my life on certain things. You know, my treatment by the LA comedy scene. Maybe I'm not funny. I'll accept that as well. I could accept that as well. But, you know, it's just those are the only thing. These one tiny thing, this one giant thing. If I could just maneuver those better, that'd be it. But I don't know if we're supposed to have a sky blue life. I think we're always supposed to have turbulence in the plane ride of life, and then you decide how to deal with that. And that's everything.
Well, dude, I remember being told at a young age that praying for wisdom, it's a double-edged kind of thing because wisdom often comes through pain and mistakes.
And it's also how happy are the most
praying for pain.
intelligent people ever. Yep.
Yeah.
I've always said this. Every lesson I ever learned had to be learned the absolute hard way.
Yeah.
I
familiar
never
with
got to
hard
watch
mode, the
somebody
hardest
going,
way.
okay, I don't need to do that. Right?
No, it's pain. Knowledge is nothing. Facts are meaningless. Wisdom is often pain is always the vehicle,
There
unfortunately.
is
because
no
there's no
facts.
mentors.
It also makes me wonder, like, okay, so I am,
Gay.
well, I mean, in addition to that, I am undoubtedly like in a better place than I was 20 years ago, you know, as a teenager. But am I gonna feel that way 20 years from now? Look back at, you know, this age and be like, damn, I was a fool then. And am I gonna be that way when I'm 80? Like, am I still gonna be getting better?
Even the craziness of my life, I look back, I go, oh, we were kings. We were kings.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about the wisdom. Like, do you feel now that you're wiser than you were when you were when you were 40?
Yeah, 100%.
Sure.
But so what it's going to be like? You have this idea that you're going to wind down your life and not want to live anymore. But are you don't think for a second that maybe when you're 75, 80, you're going to be at your with respect to like life knowledge and wisdom?
I expect my brain to be completely shish kebab by that time.
You have
I can't even imagine the 70s. Oh my god.
I mean, dude, this thing goes so fast, so much, so fast. At some point, it's got to be like, tired.
You didn't feel it. Were you one of? Because I was kind of one of these people. I always thought that like 27, I was going to be one of those people. That just.
No, I remember being a kid looking at my parents, going, "Man, they got it figured out," and I just realized they were just always tired.
Nobody knows nothing.
And they just like the different. It's like almost Tim Dillon's joke about the trauma Olympics. Like, what trauma did you go through? What psychological scars you have, or it's like, oh, you got molested, bronze. You got molested by your father, silver. You molested your father, gold. Like we now wear that as the definition of who we are. And back in the day, everyone held their cards right here.
Buried it.
You tried to reverse that damage. Now it's on display.
And now it's like you just put your cards up, going, I won.
And how much of
I was
it, though,
raped. I win.
How much of that is based in modern psychology? This idea that keeping things hidden causes manifestations, of the trauma.
No, there is something to that. Like you're only as sick as your secrets, but there's a difference between Johnny come to me talking about all the gay shit he's done and he confiding in me to kind of get it out.
We're not supposed to talk about what happens before.
That's true. I violated your trust. And then there's a difference between Johnny's whole thing is like he's the guy that did a lot of gay shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like that's the difference between the two.
But yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying though. Like I wonder if this idea of living out loud, like Ricky Gervais has this phrase, I love living your life like an open wound. That's what a lot of these influencers do, just everything spilling out, spilling your guts, I wonder if that is kind of a symptom of this pathologizing everything that we get from psychology, where everything is an illness or a disease or a result of trauma.
Maybe that's a good point. That's a good point. Charles, it was a wonderful conversation. Any final thoughts?
Thanks so much. Oh no, this is classic. It's so good to hit to redline over here. Redline on these topics because not everyone is really prepared to go into this. But no, it was a fun ass time, and people really need to focus on not the trauma, but the purification of it. People need to get better. You have to be going forward, and you can never let the bastards grind you down. And it's a prayer. Prayer is the only power. Prayer and thought are the only powers that you have. And if Nimrod's here, then he'll go to hell, and you're gonna win. God already won, so why live through the pain?
One more time, where can they find you?
Oh, I'm at CharlsCarroll. That's sort of my Charles Carroll name, and I'm there on YouTube, Charles Carroll 1, and I'm on Gumroad over there, Charles Carroll. I'm on Instagram, Charles Carroll. Twitter is different. It's Good Charles. I just kind of switch it up a little bit, but I've been pretty active on those lately. And in the Palace, the Palace is a podcast or a live show I do with Eric Hayden. He's a CEO of Madness there every Sunday at 7. So we've been really ripping it into the Palace. But there's more. I've only just come out of retirement like a year and a half ago. I'm only just freshly out of retirement.
Well, it was a great conversation. We enjoyed it a lot, and you can come back anytime you want. Open door, and look forward to maybe sometime gigging with you together. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, in LA, I'll swing. I'll swing over. We'll have some laughs. I really appreciate the invite, and it was loads of fun. I'm ready at any time to come back here. We'll get fucking crazy.